What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of the Rick Show. We are in a different setting today because it is so hot. It is storming. It is raining. But, guys, so much has happened since our last episode. I'm sorry for ditching you the last day. I did not feel good, but we still have the same guest. But really quickly, if you guys have not seen our new logo, go check it out because that shit is fire. But we do have a upcoming star, a great star. Let's give a warm welcome to the Blaze, Ace Christian.
Thank you for having me. What's up,
Of
y'all?
course. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I always hop right into it with who or what got you into wrestling?
All right. So I'm sorry. I'm coming fresh off school, so it's gonna take me a minute to process everything.
It's okay.
So so I couldn't even tell you the first time I actually watched wrestling, but I do remember a long time ago. My dad used to wrestle. My dad's name is Brian Phillips, also known as Mr. Judgment. Um, and him and his brothers. He had two other brothers. Him and his brothers, and some of his friends, some of his cousins, some basically family friends. They used to wrestle on like a mattress, and I was only like 2 years old, 2 or 3, couldn't process anything, but I just grew up around it, and uh, I mean, I guess I was just born to do it. I guess so.
No.
And then as I started growing up, I was watching WWE stuff like that, um, and I remember some matches like I watched Triple H versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania in a steel cage or Hell in a Cell or whatever, and I wanted Triple H to win so bad. And I remember Triple H losing, and I remember I was sulking, like I was in tears. So I got really emotional, but like I really do like doing this. But yeah, it's nothing too crazy how I got into it. I mean, like I said, I guess I was just kind of born to do it because my dad did it and his brothers did it. So
No, most definitely. And I gotta say, it's finally cool not being like. Usually, everyone that comes on here is like way older than me, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the WWF era," and I'm like, "Okay, we're in the same generation. We're around the same age,
yeah,
so it's pretty cool."
yeah. I think one thing I have above everybody else, not like nothing like any good thing. It's just like I like to say that uh, I have the ability to do what I do at the age that I am is crazy that I'm doing it. Like I've started wrestling, like trampoline wrestling. I started wrestling like since I was like 7. But like whenever we first got our first professional ring, um, I was like 12. But before that, so like it was crazy because um, whenever I basically how I grew up wrestling is I started on trampoline. And crazy story, the trampoline that we used, there was like a really bad tornado, and the trampoline blew like 5 houses across, and it actually hit someone else's pool.
Oh my
So
god.
the trampoline and the pool was broke. So what we did was we bought like these cushions, like carpet padding, stuff like that, and we put that under like the base of the trampoline. So we just wrestled on a base of the trampoline without the net or without the legs, and there was padding under it. And then after that, we actually made our homemade ring. So like we had like these like big, long, thick pieces of wood for the posts. Yeah, the cable, all that stuff, and then we had like this gym mat for padding, and then we got our professional ring. So
That's crazy. So I gotta ask because like I experience it a lot myself. Do you find like it being harder being like younger than majority of the guys in the locker room, or is it like
so I definitely think it's hard for me to digest that I'm so young. Like I like to think that I'm experienced because I truly think I am because I've done this for a while for being at a young age. But I do got to understand that because I'm young and I'm around people that are obviously older and way more experienced than me, I still got to learn a lot. But I'm here for the ride, and I can't wait to see where things take me eventually.
No, definitely. So, with that being said, who like officially trained you?
So I've never truly had a official trainer, but my dad was the one that actually like basically taught me the basics because my dad actually trained. He was in like a class called like the House of Pain,
Hmm.
and he was actually in the same class as Luke Gallows.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I never really did. I honestly never did any hardcore training. It was literally just the basics, and how I like to see it is every time I've wrestled was a learning experience. Like that's basically how I've trained. Because I never really started to do independent wrestling, obviously because of my age,
Yeah.
and states are really strict on that stuff. But I've actually since like towards the end of last year, I've started making my independent debut. Um, and hopefully, if things go right, tomorrow I actually have an independent show, and I'm competing for the Enterprise Live Wire Championship for that company. So it's a big opportunity for me.
Okay, okay. So, if people don't know, are you a heel or are you a face?
Uh, big face, big face.
Oh,
So at my home company, I've BBW. I've always been a face, but there's been like 2 points in my career that I've done heel. But I remember the first time I went heel, everybody was in shock because I had a storyline with my dad where I faced him and I beat him for the world title for my home company's world championship. And he used his authority because he was the owner of that company,
yeah.
and he used that authority to gain his rematch right after I beat him, and then he beat me, and then I basically sold my soul to the devil, basically. And then that's how that's how I did my first heel turn. But like personally, after doing that, I didn't really like it because I think I was just so used to being face. Like I was like getting cheered out of the building
Hmm.
to just getting booed out of the building because I was such a big face. And then the second time I went heel, I joined this group called the Dawn's March. Also a home company thing that happened. And then I basically merged it into a face faction with
Hmm.
Matt Moore now.
No, yeah. I usually say it all the time on here. I can just like get the vibe, like, yeah, that person's definitely a heel or that person's definitely a face. And like when they come out the complete opposite, I'm like, nope, turn around. I don't like this. You like I can
Yeah,
tell you're like with you're definitely a face. Like I can tell that you're a face. So if you ever would have came out like at a show that I'm at and you're a heel, I'm like, no, turn around and retry this again because this is not gonna work.
yeah. I try to make my entrance kind of. I don't want it to be over the top or over
Yeah.
exaggerated too much. It's just really simple. I literally just do my thing. Like I don't really have. I think that's another cool thing about me is like I don't really have a character. It's more so just myself. Like I like to
Yeah.
do what I do, and I'd rather be myself than someone I'm not. So
Hmm.
and like whenever I come out, I get all excited, energetic, hyped up, try to get the crowd involved. But yeah, that's pretty much
No,
how I do
definitely.
my stuff.
Definitely. So we have someone in the chat saying biggest baby face. So
Can't argue with that.
pretty pretty explanatory. So what would you say is like your favorite thing about wrestling?
I think the atmosphere. I definitely most of my friends and family come from wrestling. Um, I don't really have too many friends at school compared to wrestling, and it's just like wrestling is just like a whole different world. Like you can meet various new people, and I feel like we can all vibe for the most part. But if you can't vibe, then it is what it is. Like you're just going to be known as an outcast.
No, definitely. I can definitely say that because I do online school now, and I used to be in the high school, and I'm like, I'm not a people person. So like with wrestling, it's a whole different like atmosphere. I can vibe with everyone, and it's like I can't vibe at school, but I can vibe at wrestling. So
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. I think the people that I meet uh, here and out, uh, I think it's really cool because you never expect to talk to different people, and for the most part, ever since I've started uh, doing wrestling, like on the independent scene, uh, I've met new people, and I've and I'm glad I met them because they gave me some praise and they gave me some things I need to work on. Um, and sometimes it's kind of hard to digest that because, like I said, like I'm not the type of person to really, you know, like getting critiqued, but like if it's someone that like has been in the game for a while, then I'll take what I can get. So
No, definitely. So we do have Dominant Breakout Wrestling saying Blaze is our guy,
I
and
am the
with
guy. I am a
and it says wrestling becomes a family. I say that all the time. It is like wrestling becomes like a family reunion because you don't get to see them all the time at these like in general. But then when you have those shows, it's like, oh my god, how are you? And like you just catch up like your family.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's why that's why wrestling means a lot to me because that's basically my life outside of foot or yeah, outside of school and other than football because I do football for my high school. But those are the only two things that I really do is football and wrestling. And wrestling, I've wrestling has been all my life basically. So
No, yeah, that's really cool. So Dominant Breakout Wrestling says, what are your thoughts about going into what could be the biggest match of your career at DBW World War?
all right,
That's a
so
mouthful, but go ahead.
yeah. So actually, before I get into that, the last show that we had, which was Double Cross, uh, I was in a gauntlet match. I was in there with four other guys, but I came in like third. So I faced the first guy I faced was Azrael, beat him, and then I faced Brandon Castelli for the Holy Grail Gauntlet, which I beat him. And basically, the Holy Grail Gauntlet guarantees a match basically like the Royal Rumble. Basically, it guarantees a match at the biggest show of the year for the world title. But then I got this Holy Grail Gauntlet Cup. Really nice, really beautiful. Honored to be the first person to hold that. But as far as the match, I'm facing my dad again. Who would have guessed? And for the world title. But my, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say on here. But like whenever we get into like whenever it gets closer to date and whenever we get in the ring, I'll have a lot more to say to my dad to his face because I don't really like doing this stuff on camera and I like to do it like a man. And so yeah. I mean, like I said, nothing really too much I gotta say, but like my mindset's to win the belt, to win the top.
No, definitely. So, do you think it's like easier to vibe and like wrestle with your dad because obviously you have that relationship in the ring and outside of the ring?
Okay, so I'm gonna cut away from the character stuff and go more personal on this one. Uh, but yeah, me and my dad have that, obviously that connection. Uh, and every time we've wrestled, solid matches. But this match, me and him plan on being the best match of the year for our company, possibly in the career of the company, because it's such a big match, such a big build up. Father and son again, world title, world war, biggest show of the year. And I just joined hashtag EO, yeah, yeah. Um, and my tag team partners, they're facing my dad's group faction, the Heretics, for the tag titles, and then my other Ego friend. Roland Havoc is facing Brand Castelli and defending his World Stream title. And if I win that championship belt, I'll complete the piece because all Vigo has gold but me. So I'd like to complete that final piece of the puzzle.
No, definitely. So, in my area, the companies usually it's like heel versus face. Is that kind of what DPW is, like heel versus face, or like you and your dad? Are you? Obviously, you're the face. Is he a heel, or is it just different?
So it's my dad's kind of an interesting character, because it really just depends who he faces. Like sometimes, personally, people love my dad, but like for this match, he's going to be a heel, big heel, because after the Holy Grail Gauntlet match, I went through two of the biggest guys, beat them both, won the gauntlet, and then he just came from behind me, cheap shot me, attacked me. But after he did that, that will push him to be the biggest heel in the company versus the biggest face in the company. But like he's kind of a tweener, I'd say, for the most part. But like this time, there's no deciding whether he's face or heel because he's going to be the bad guy this time around.
Good to know. So you kind of mentioned this person a little bit before, but Mr. Judgment says Blaze is filth.
That's crazy. That's all I gotta say. That's crazy because you can call your own son Phil. That is crazy on the internet. Say that to me to my face, Dad. Come on, that's crazy. Doing all that talk on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Be
I
like,
and I thought, I thought my generation was messed up. Sheesh.
be like, okay, so I remember this time you said that on the internet.
Yeah, yeah. I'll remember that. Don't worry. I'll remember that.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of said what your favorite thing about wrestling was. So what would you say is the hardest part for you?
I think the hardest part is I wouldn't necessarily say this is the hardest part, but like the worst part about wrestling is like the drama. Like I hate to say it, but like there's like a lot of backstage heat, especially with I'm sure CM Punk actually being released from AEW because he's had a bunch of backstage, you know, personal problems with whoever. But like drama in wrestling is such a virus in the industry, and that's something that I think need. I think we all as wrestlers want to get cut out, and fans too, because obviously people were really disappointed to see CM Punk gone. But like I think that's the worst part about wrestling is just the overall, you know, drama. But like, there's nothing too crazy about wrestling that is not worth doing. So
No,
yeah,
definitely. Like the drama is like such a big thing. And like it's not just in like AEW and WWE, but it's also like big time in the indies as well. So
oh
it's
yeah. I
but
mean, and it is, and you can kind of play it off though too because you can if you end up facing that person and you've had beef before and now you guys are cool, you can use that as like a storyline, which I think that's kind of cool too. It's like with wrestling, you can tie anything with a storyline. No matter if you face for the first time or if you have this big feud with them, but yeah.
no. And I think it's good like with the storylining it you could hate this person so much, but once you step in that ring, you're professional about it and you're like, well, I literally hate you, but we gotta do what we gotta do here. And so
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and not a lot of people can do that, but it's cool.
If you
But
can,
Mr.
do that, but if you can't do all that, then I don't
Mhm.
know what to tell you.
Exactly. But Mr. Judgment says, I will destroy you.
Don't say it. Do it. And
Exactly.
you're not. But you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it though.
Next thing you
You
know,
can't.
Mr. Judgment just comes out of nowhere, be like, that's it. You said do it.
Nah, he ain't around me right now.
That's good, I guess. so
Yeah,
um,
yeah, it's good.
so obviously you're a baby yourself, but if one of like a younger fan came up to you and was like, I want to do exactly what you're doing, what advice would you give them?
Oh, that's something. I had to think about that one. Uh, if they came up to me as an inspiration, uh, I mean, I wouldn't really say it's nothing too crazy, but like, all I'd say is just do what you want to do. Like, if you want to do wrestling, do it, but don't do something that you don't truly have passion for, because that's just wasting your time. Because life is so precious, not to waste. Or hold on, life is too precious to waste. Um, but no, like I've had an idol before, so I kind of know what that's like. But like, if it was someone as young, like as like a kid, it, it's different because you're basically part of their childhood. Like you're literally their childhood hero. So I have yet to, have that experience. But if that ever came up, that's what I'd say.
No, definitely. I also think like you gotta be in it for the long run because you can't just like do it for a month and be like, okay, well I've had my bumps, now I'm done. Like it's a
Oh
long
yeah.
ass process.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So, if the point ever came in your career where you got the opportunity of WWE and AEW, which one do you think you would take?
I would probably take WWE, just because it's a bigger platform for sure, um, and a lot of people that I've idolized and have you know grown up watching and still watch go there. So having that possible opportunity to face them would be nice. Although AEW has the the star power it has right now, especially after All In, and with like all the independent, big time independent guys and people from New Japan coming in and stuff like that. That's a good opportunity too, but like I said, you can't beat WWE. I'm sorry, but like you just can't beat WWE.
No, definitely. So, do you have a dream venue or a dream place like you really want to wrestle in?
Not really. Anywhere that can be packed to see me. So I mean, we're talking like AT&T Stadium where they had the record-breaking attendance for WrestleMania 32. That would be nerve-wracking for me because that's 100,000 people coming to watch you wrestle. I've yet
Yeah.
to, like I said, I've yet to experience something like that where I've had, you know, thousands of people watch me, but I know thousands of people watch me on YouTube, but it's completely different ball game whether it's between in person and online because you got more eyes on you physically than
Yeah.
rather virtually.
No, definitely. But so like with the YouTube and everything, obviously Mr. Judgment is one. But how do you take like that self critic or like that self judgment from other people and like does that make you get
Hmm.
you know
So
what I'm
that
trying to say?
yeah. So I get what you're trying to say. So I that definitely has been an issue with me recently. I've had like I've heard these things about me, and I know what people say. Like I know what other people say about other people, and I'm just like, what if those people say those things about me? And it's just like I got on myself about that one day. Um, but like I have big plans coming up that I know that I need to keep my mind right. Um, so just knowing that I have big plans coming up for different federations, whether it's DBW or my other partner company, VTW versus the World Wrestling, uh, and Enterprise and Amplified and Enterprise for independence. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of big plans coming up and just plan to keep driving forward no matter what anyone says because I'm very confident and my confidence is so bad people think I have an ego for it. But you know what? I really don't care. because I think I'm a good wrestler, and I don't. Not only I will tell you that, but you can ask anybody else that knows me and that sees me, and they will tell you the same thing that I'm not. I'm not only a good, but I'm a great wrestler, especially because I'm doing it at the age I'm doing it. Like, come on now, you ain't gonna find no one else around the area or wherever that's doing it as good as me at the age I'm doing it at.
No, definitely. And I think it's good to have that ego. Like, I don't care what you think of me because I'm this age and I'm kicking ass, and not a lot of people can say that. So I think it's
Yeah.
good to have that type of ego. I'm the same way. I walk in there, I'm like, I don't care what you think, but I'm here and I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, wrestling is a family and it's like a bonding thing, but it's also a business.
yeah.
So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get to the top and have that kind of star power, and you got to start with yourself on that. So,
No, yeah. And realistically, we all are our own worst critics. So, do you ever like watch those matches back and be like, oh man, I did that. Why'd I do that? What was I thinking?
oh, yeah, definitely. I had one recently. It hasn't been released yet, so I can't say too much about it, but I, uh, I actually, I wouldn't say it's an injury, but like, I hurt myself kind of bad during the match. What I did was I did an up and over, and I went so high up. People thought I was gonna fly out of the ring, and the ring was like it was very high. It was basically like a WWE ring, but like I held onto the rope, but I went so far outward, my leg scraped off of the post, and it left like a big bruise on my leg and big scratch, and I after that, like I had to do 619 and I botched it. So like I missed the rope, and like my leg got caught on the rope. Um but like I was just like after the match, like I was just like beating myself up because I was just like I messed the freaking 619 up. I got people thinking I was like severely hurt. But like after I watched the match, like by myself with my guys, I it was a solid match. Um, but like that's one thing I've noticed with me personally is like I like after a match, if I think it didn't do well, I'll beat myself up about it. But after I watch it, I normally think like, oh, okay, it wasn't half bad. It's just different like actually seeing it as like a fan kind of.
No, yeah, and I could definitely say that because obviously I've seen like the fan perspective, and I've also had a show earlier in the year, and like I was like a ring announcer kind of thing, and did interviews, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, it's gonna be so bad, and then I watched it back, I'm like, well, it wasn't that bad, and a lot
Yeah.
of times like you're the only one like you're gonna go over it in your head over and over again, like, oh my god, I did that so bad, but then nobody really noticed that you messed up or you made a flop.
Yeah, that's basically how it is for me. Uh, like I said, it's just after a match, uh, if I think I did as not as good as I should have done, because I know I can do good. I know I can have good matches.
Yeah.
But like if I know, like if I think I didn't have a good match, I'll beat myself up about it, and then if I watch it over, like 9 times out of 10, I'll just be like, "Huh, it wasn't that bad."
No, definitely. That's how it gotta be. But Mr. Judgment says, I will say this there is no one else who is worthy to compete for the top prize in all of DPW except Ace Christian.
I mean, he's right. That's all I gotta say about that. He's right. So I mean, I guess I appreciate that,
I guess I'll
but
take it.
I guess I'll take that, and
Although,
I
like, you
guess
just, yeah, unless, like, I'm just like you just put me on the internet saying that I'm filth, but I guess I'll take it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So before you come out the curtain, do you do like a specific warm up, or is there anything you always do?
I don't really warm up. I'm definitely trying to like ever since like whenever I've done football, like it's made me want to do more stretches because I don't want to get hurt or anything like that. So normally like not even before the curtain, like before like fans start coming into the building, I'll get in the ring and I'll basically stretch in the ring. Um, just do some basic stuff in the ring before everybody comes in, and once everybody comes in, I go in the curtain, I get ready, get dressed, all that funny stuff, and then I just wait till I'm up.
Okay. So out of all the places, like you've wrestled quite a bit of places, out of those places, is there one specific place that you're like, I really like this place and I will wrestle here? Any opportunity I get.
So I've only actually wrestled in I've only wrestled in 4 states, but I've traveled almost all over the East Coast, like as far as driving. But out of the 4 places that I've wrestled at, I would probably have to go with West Virginia, just because West Virginia is not strict at all about like age or whatever, like anything like that. So like if I had the chance, any independent company in West Virginia, I want to be able to go there because I can actually wrestle there. But because like in Maryland, you have to have a promoter's license, all that funny stuff. And then New York, I'm sure they have their own rules. But also in North Carolina, that's the other place I've wrestled at. They don't have any rules either, so that would probably have to be a second. And there have been talks about me possibly going down there to live there, maybe. But for the most part, just because it's so local to me, West Virginia would probably have to steal that one.
No, definitely. So lost my train of thought there for a second. But how do you feel about like the intergender wrestling, like male versus female?
I don't really have much to say about that. I mean, like I said before about the whole inspiration thing. Like, if you like to do it, then do it. Um, but like I know there's like not that many. I don't know how to say this. There's not many standout female wrestlers. So if you could really stand out, then that's a big deal because women's wrestling has evolved greatly. Um, and WWE, I know, have pushed that big time. But as far as like intergender stuff, I think that's really cool because if you end up finding a partner in the wrestling world, you can bring and team up with them, do mixed match, tag matches, stuff like that.
No, definitely. And I even think like so we have Matt Manning saying Ace has some new friends now in EGO. I know Roland is fun dude and he's got Ace back.
Yep, that is Roland Havoc right there. Yeah, Rollins has my back. I know my other Ego guys, Colin Graves, Austin James, have my back too, and I got their back definitely. But yeah, they're doing better than me right now as far as DBW because they got gold and I don't. So I plan to change that though for World War.
Yeah, and I really think like if the females can train with males, then we can also go in there and kick your guys' ass.
Oh really? Oh
Hmm.
really? Oh really? Not me
Yeah.
though. Not me. Not me. Not me.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see.
We
So
will have
how
to
do,
see.
so like the opposite of that, how do you feel about like hardcore death style weapons match?
Um. Okay, so me personally, I I kind of like watching death matches, but like as a wrestler, I yeah, it's just too much. But like as a fan, I kind of enjoy it.
Hmm. I think if it fits and if the storyline says like I think me personally, it would be a way to end a storyline. Like if there's a feud between like you and your dad, that would probably match to have like one big at the end.
Oh yeah, like if it's like a basic stipulation, like no disqualification, which is what the stipulation is for my match with my dad. no disqualification. But like nothing like too crazy like death match or anything like that is fine as a wrestler. Like I'll do anything other than a death match because I'm not trying to die.
Yeah, exactly. And I couldn't, like I said all the time, I don't know how you guys like put yourself in that type of match and be like, yeah, okay, well now I got like stuff in my back. I gotta go to the hospital probably for a broken bone. And be like, so you just go and they'll be like, oh well, what happened to you? I'm a wrestler and I put myself through some shit I shouldn't have put myself through.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm not doing none of that.
If it fits and if that's what you want to do, go for it. But do you have any merch? And if so, where can people purchase it at?
I unfortunately don't have merch, but it is coming soon. I will probably post it up on my Instagram page and Facebook page, H Christian on Facebook. Just look up H Christian. But yeah, once I get merch, I'll definitely post that up.
God, what a wrestler. He doesn't even have merch. Like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just playing. So, what you kind of said a show before, but what are some upcoming shows people can find you at?
So I'm doing one in West Virginia if the weather holds up. I think it's in Falling Waters. It's behind a pizza shop. But yeah, I'm facing for the Enterprise Live Wire Championship. First title opportunity in my uprising in the independence. So I think that's really exciting. I also have my World War match for the world title for DBW versus my dad. And that's about it for now. But I definitely do want to be more busy after school. Like after I'm done graduating and everything, I want to be like every weekend I'm doing wrestling.
No, yeah, that's really cool. So Matt Manning says he has merch. LOL. He's included in the EGO shirt.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I don't know where that's at though. So you're gonna
Wow.
have to help. You're gonna have to help me out with that one. Roll. But yeah, thanks for reminding me because I don't have any personal merch for me, but I know obviously in my group you got that merch. So.
And you don't even know where to find it. Okay. So we have my dad in the chat now chanting your name because that's what he does best. Chant Blaze and Ace. But lastly, if people, my people, your people, want to follow you on social media, where can they find you at?
Okay, so they can find me on Facebook, Ace Christian, and then my Instagram page, Ace_Christian1. TikTok, Ace_Christian1. Follow the TikTok for sure. And then on YouTube, follow DBW, Dominant Breakout Wrestling on YouTube. Also on YouTube, follow Versus the World Wrestling, VTW. That's about it.
Okay, guys. So please, please, please give this upcoming star a follow. Obviously, make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all that fun stuff, and try to pay attention to see if this one over here ever comes out with merch, and then buy yourself some merch because it's what you can do. And guys, also, besides the wrestler, make sure you're buying one of my t-shirts. T-shirts are now finally put in, so make sure you're getting yourself one. Do what you gotta do. But until next week, guys, see you next time. Bye.